I don't even know what to say about the insanity that's playing out before our very eyes as we continue to warn people of facts that are objectively provable regarding the corporately controlled uniparty system that puts forward two polished turds in the spotlight and expects you to argue about which one is less smelly. Senator Marco Rubio has been appointed by Donald Trump to serve as the Secretary of State. And before I go over this, I just want to remind you what Marco Rubio himself said about Donald Trump back in 2016 when he called Donald Trump a con artist and a big fraud who will never get control of this party. Take it away, Marco.
The stakes are giving control of the party of Lincoln and Reagan, of the conservative movement, and ultimately of the United States over to a con artist. That will not happen. I make this promise to you today. I will do whatever it takes. I will campaign as long as it takes. I will stay in this race as long as it takes. Donald Trump, a con artist, will never get control of this party.
Donald Trump, the con artist, says Marco Rubio, will never get control of this party. Now, Donald Trump, the big fraud and con artist, has appointed, and we're going to watch what Donald Trump said about Marco Rubio during the 2016 election process in a second, but Donald Trump has just appointed the guy who called him a con artist and a big fraud who will never get control over this country as the Secretary of State. But wait, there's more. Marco.
And the time has come for you. I know some of your friends have bought into this. Listen, friends, don't let friends vote for con artists. It is time to open our eyes.
Yeah, it is time to open our eyes. Friends don't let friends vote for con artists. But friends do let friends vote for con artists and frauds who are going to appoint the guy who called you a con artist and a fraud as Secretary of State. Got it.
It is time to open our eyes. We cannot allow a con artist to get access to the nuclear codes of the United States of America. It's a big fraud, and it's time to open our eyes, and we will in the days and weeks to come. I'm confident of it.
Well, I'm not so confident that anybody's going to open their eyes because it appears to me that the masses want to conform to a profoundly sick society. Let me show you what Donald Trump said about Marco Rubio during the 2016 selection process. Little Marco Rubio, the lightweight, no-show senator from Florida, is set to be the puppet of the special interest Koch brothers. Watch. He also said, and there's more that he said, I'm just picking two of them, I will be using Facebook and Twitter, Trump said, to expose dishonest, lightweight Senator Marco Rubio, a record no-show in Senate. He is scamming Florida. So Donald Trump calls Marco Rubio a lightweight. He calls him dishonest. He calls him a scammer, and he calls him a puppet of the special interest Koch brothers. And yet Donald Trump has appointed that man who called Donald Trump a con artist and a big fraud, the Secretary of State. Tell me how this isn't a dog and pony clown show under the big top. Listen to Fox News report on this.
Fox News alert. The New York Times is reporting that Trump has just tapped Florida Senator Marco Rubio to be his Secretary of State. This means Governor Ron DeSantis will now have to pick a senator to fill that vacancy down there in Florida. Rubio ran against Donald Trump in 2016. Now he's in his cabinet. He's going to have a big portfolio.
Didn't just run against him, Jesse. Had major choice words. Not just criticism, but was going after and attacking his character. So was Marco Rubio lying then, or is he lying now? Was Donald Trump lying then about what Marco Rubio is and who he is and that he's a lightweight and that he's a scammer, or is he lying now? Either way, they're lying. And isn't it crazy how your favorite political psychopathic parasite is somehow incapable of lying when you're a voter? They can't see that they're lying. They can't see that they're psychopaths. They can't see that they're on the dangling from the end of special interest corporate elites. They just can't see it, or they don't want to see it. What's really going on?
China, Iran, Ukraine, Venezuela, a lot of action.
So not only did Donald Trump pick Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State, but he also picked Elise Stefanik to be the ambassador to the UN, and they are both owned by AIPAC.
As long as I serve the American people, I will defend George Washington's vision of religious pluralism and freedom. Today, this means crushing anti-Semitism at home and supplying the state of Israel with what it needs, when it needs it, without conditions to achieve total victory in the face of evil. Chants of death to America are not hollow slogans. They are a promise that what happened here on October 7th could happen in the United States unless Hamas and its jihadist accomplices are eliminated. And it is the United States' high honor and high responsibility to support Israel's effort. I have been clear at home, and I will be clear here. There is no excuse for an American president to block aid to Israel, aid that was duly passed by the Congress. There is no excuse to ease sanctions on Iran, paying a $6 billion ransom to the world's leading state sponsor of terror, or to dither and hide while our friends fight for their lives. No excuse, full stop. That's why I'm proud to have sponsored or backed every measure to aid Israel that has come before the United States Congress. Every single one. And it's why for years I have been a leading proponent and partner to President Trump in his historic support for Israeli independence and security, including moving the U.S. Embassy to its rightful place in Jerusalem. Israel is indeed a miracle, an outpost of freedom, of Western values, of civilization, a striking example of human potential, the physical embodiment of Herzl's maxim, if you will it, it is no dream. It's the same founding ethos that we prize in America, the American dream.
Another person I warned not to demoralize and demean himself, but he chose to go ahead and do it anyway and vote for Donald Trump, was Anomaly, who has since blocked me. But he played this clip right here. This man, Anomaly, voted for Donald Trump knowing that Donald Trump is soundly in the back pocket of Israel and will be an Israel firster, not an American firster. And Anomaly chose to demean and demoralize and humiliate himself by casting his vote of consent for somebody who is clearly Israel first. And now that Israel firster, Donald Trump, has picked another Israel firster as part of a vital part of his cabinet for Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. And we're going to hear Marco Rubio say this, but Anomaly quotes Marco Rubio at Israel-controlled AIPAC and says, this is Marco Rubio, I always used to joke we couldn't get 100 senators to honor Santa Claus, but we got 100 people on board for Israel. And look, it's a testament to the work of this organization, that's AIPAC, and so many others, and it needs to remain that way. Oh, don't worry, it will with Donald Trump in the presidency seat and you as Secretary of State. I'm sure it will.
Made that kind of bipartisan agreement so possible.
Well, and I always used to joke we couldn't get 100 senators to honor Santa Claus, but we got 100 people on board on Israel. And look, it's a testament to the work of this organization and so many others, and it needs to remain.
Oh, yeah, it sure is.
That.
It needs to remain that way. Now, another person that you would think wouldn't have demeaned and demoralized himself by voting for so-called the lesser of two evils is Dave Smith. So what he said the other day on November 1st, that's yesterday, there's a lot of talk about the coming appointments. After the excellent decision to box out Pompeo and Haley, Trump followed up with a horrible UN pick, that's Stefanik. We need to keep the pressure going. We need to keep the pressure going on what, Dave? We don't control who's in the White House. The special interest groups do. The 12,000 lobbyists that run Washington's District of Criminals do. The corporate DNC and RNC are the ones who put their guy up there. And then they give you a choice between Uniparty Muppet 1 or Uniparty Muppet 2, and you chose a Uniparty Muppet. You knew he was a Uniparty Muppet. I think Dave, I don't know. I don't know. I said in a tweet today, I think Dave is a sincere guy, but wait till you see the third post that I show you that comes from Dave Smith that I wasn't aware of until this morning after I posted that Twitter post. Here's how Trump could really set up a heroic second term that is America first and would have a fighting shot at draining the swamp, which, by the way, he's filling the swamp right now, Dave. You know he is. Secretary of State Rand Paul. I've heard Vivek floated, and that would be great. Secretary of Defense Tulsi Gabbard. National Security Advisor Douglas McGregor. These very realistic picks alone would send shockwaves through D.C. and bring serious change to the most corrupt town on earth. Do you think Donald Trump is really interested in doing that, Dave? And then Dave said in a tweet today, Marco Rubio is a disaster. Might as well give Liz Cheney the State Department awful sign. And I agree. I agree. But Dave, it's not just a sign. You knew who Donald Trump was, and you voted for him anyway.
You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
Why? Are you a fraud? Are you on the take? I know if anybody knows what's really going on, it's Dave Smith. And then I ran across this tweet. Dave Smith actually tweeted this out in March of 2024, not too long ago. And he voted for him anyway. Listen to what Dave says. Trump immediately loosened the rules of engagement, which led directly to increases in civilian deaths in wars that he himself acknowledged were unwinnable. He is responsible for around 500,000 deaths in Yemen, and between the weapons to Ukraine and the Abraham Accords Jerusalem embassy, he is at least partially responsible for two of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. And then Dave Smith actually says that's Donald Trump, is a war criminal who should spend his life in prison, as I've said countless times. Now that you've been objectively proven wrong, either apologize or show yourself for the dishonest actor you are, your choice. And I guess he's responded to this guy right here who says, how many bombs, drone strikes, and civilian deaths happened under Donald Trump? Strange you aren't mentioning that. I guess you want to be invited back on Rogan. You're a coward and a fraud. And I guess this is Dave Smith's response to him. And yet Dave Smith went out there, and he's got a large audience, so I'm sure a lot of people followed his example. He went out there and he chose what Dave says is the lesser of two evils, but he voted for a known war criminal who Dave says should spend the rest of his life in jail. Tell me that voting isn't a demoralization and dehumanization ritual. What the frick is going on? You've got everybody owned by Isra double hockey sticks. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, become a channel member. But more importantly, understand what's going on. Don't demean and humiliate and demoralize yourself. Understand that you do have power, but you also give away power when you vote for a known political puppet psychopath. I will see you in the next video.